In 2017, Burbank Patrol Officer Nathan Watson was shot to death in his own home by amateur skateboarder and friend Brian McGee. Nathan was born in Charleston, South Carolina, and suffered from an abusive relationship with his father for most of his childhood. This led to him being removed from his parents' care at the age of 15 to live with his two uncles in Burbank, California. But after they were killed in action by a drone strike while serving in Syria, Nathan was left to fend for himself as a young adult. After graduating from Glendale Community College in 2017, he enrolled as an officer for the Burbank Police Department. It was around this time that Nathan met Brian McGee, who was an up-and-coming skateboarder in the Southern California area, who often went by the skater nickname of Skater Boy. He was reportedly infamous in the community for being a delinquent and acting recklessly. He had previously been charged for several crimes in the past, including loitering, aggravated assault, and the possession of illicit drugs. Despite this, Nathan and Brian struck up a friendship sometime in the summer of 2017. The two reputedly bonded over repeated viewings of the 2012 movie Ted starring Mark Wahlberg. The pair would engage in daily activities, which included Brian teaching Nathan skateboarding tricks and playing football. On December 16th, Brian's birthday, the two friends were celebrating in McGee's apartment, where Nathan supposedly gave Brian a handgun as a birthday gift. Reports claimed that shortly after this exchange, Brian shot Nathan once in the chest with the same handgun, killing him almost instantly. A few days after the murder, Brian McGee fled the city of Burbank, taking most of his belongings with him. After Nathan failed to return to work in over a week, the Burbank Police Department was sent to Brian's apartment to investigate. The police found evidence that McGee tried to dissolve Watson's body using sulfuric acid. They also found video files on his computer which contained footage of the two, which Brian stated was for a music video project he had been working on. Some of the files recovered were described as depicting Brian waving around the arms of the deceased Nathan, similar to a marionette puppet. No footage of the alleged music video or the Nathan corpse clips have been released to the public, nor has any information on the identity of the person who filmed them. Over 2 weeks after the killing took place, police finally discovered Brian McGee sleeping behind the Obama gas station in Columbia, South Carolina, and arrested him. At first, Brian denied the claims that he had murdered his friend, repeatedly using the term special effects, likely referring to the music video he was producing. Eventually, Brian confessed to the murder, stating that he had shot Watson because the two were making faces at each other, and one face that Nathan made apparently startled Brian, causing him to act in self-defense. Brian was charged with involuntary manslaughter and sentenced to 119 years in prison. During his sentencing, Judge Tony Joyal summarized the whole ordeal by simply stating, "That boy ain't right, he is flawed." Nathan was described as a kind and caring Christian who had a love for music and would always find time for a quick JO session. Nathan left behind 2 wives and a daughter named Borat, who had just entered elementary school at the time of the murder.